Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is straight out of Boston here, aka the King of Boston. And today we're back with episode 15, I believe, of the Around the League series. I never know the episode of these because I never title these in Sony Vegas by their episode number, which I do with every single other of my series. I title these by the team I'm doing, which is today the Orlando Magic. And today I'm actually not playing a friend; I'm playing a complete random. He's using the Cleveland Cavaliers. I just recorded this game like earlier. Or not today, but yesterday, because I just needed to get this gameplay recorded. I'm doing the commentary the day after I edited it. But anyway, you can see we're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, and let's just get right into this. Nothing much else to say. What am I saying? Anyway, so Orlando Magic obviously are a team that traded Dwight Howard in the offseason. They got, a lot of people thought they got a bad deal. I think they certainly had better offers on the table, especially from the combination of Cleveland and, I believe, Brooklyn as well, or Cleveland, LA, as well as just straight up Brooklyn, which I think was offering like Brook Lopez and Marshawn Brooks, which, man, Brook Lopez is so good. Anyway, so, and Brook Lopez is the guy who'd be locked in for another 4 years or so after he re-signed, because he was a restricted free agent this offseason. But anyway, they have what they have, and they need to get going with it. I'll start out by saying that Nikola Vucevic, I think it is. I think the C is a soft C. Nikola Vucevic, out of USC, second-year man, drafted, I believe, 16th overall by the Sixers, maybe 18th in 2011, is the steal of that trade. Actually, Earl Clark is the steal of that trade. I don't know why the Magic traded that guy. Obviously, they didn't see what the Lakers saw in him, and the Lakers probably saw what Earl Clark is playing as right now. But Nikola Vucevic has been a great player this year. I believe he's averaging 12 points, 11 rebounds. He's a stretch 5, which is something you almost never see anymore. 7-footer who can, he hasn't been shooting the threes this year, but he can shoot threes. He's hit him before, he hit him last year a little bit. And man, this guy's finally got an opportunity to play, and he's been playing so well. It looks like the Magic might have found their future center. That's great, honestly, that's really good for them. I just want to touch on that. As for the rest of some of the young guys, Andrew Nicholson and Mo Harkless, I don't know too much about. I've heard Nicholson's a good offensive player, but not the best defender. Mo Harkless, I don't know anything about him, quite frankly. Etuan Moore is a second-year man out of Purdue. He used to be on the Celtics. I really liked him when he was on the Celtics. I wish the Celtics had kept him and not traded him for Courtney Lee, but it is what it is. Other young guys, Ish Smith, I guess he's still kind of young. He's a third-year guy at Wake Forest. I've heard he's had potential. He just hasn't really, kind of found his way in the NBA yet. And I don't really know too much about Kyle O'Quinn, who's a rookie out of Norfolk State. But the rest of this team is just veterans, and the rest of this team are on terrible contracts. I believe Glenn Davis and Jimmy Nelson both have 3-year contracts, around $24 million. Al Harrington has, I think, a 3-year contract. Hideo Turkoglu has a 1-year contract with a player option in this upcoming season. Or I think it might be a 2-year deal, actually. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. 2K has it at 1 year and then a player option, but I believe actually someone mentioned that it was actually 2 years. And let's see, going down the list, I think Josh McRoberts might be on an expiring. That's good. Aaron Aflalo is on like a 3 or 4 year deal. So they just have a lot of guys on bad contracts, and they need to find ways to get rid of these guys. If they can try and trade JJ Redick, who's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year, who a lot of people are thinking will not stay at Orlando after he's had a completely. He's been playing incredible this year. It's a breakout season, and will likely go somewhere else in the offseason. If they can trade him and not necessarily get someone back, but just try to trade some of these terrible contracts, and if they can get a pick back, that'd be great. But they really need to focus on getting rid of some of these contracts. This is a team that's going to have a very similar roster for the next 2 to 3 years unless they make some trades. And otherwise, they're not going to be able to make a splash in the free agent market. They're not even going to be able to, they're going to have to wait until those guys are, I don't know how they're going to re-sign Nikola Vucevic if they don't trade some of these guys, because they might not have the cap room, quite frankly. They just don't have that much cap space. Obviously, when Turkoglu leaves in 2 years, that'll clear up some space. I'm sure they'll be able to re-sign him with that money, but at that point, they're going to be really restricted, and it's just going to be, it's going to be interesting, because like I said before, I'm very high on Vucevic, and, I think he's going to be a great player. But anyway, you can see him going to work here. He's actually going to miss the buzzer beater. And we go into the half. But I had a good game with Vucevic. The guy I was playing oftentimes would user control with the center, so I just passed to Vucevic and go to work on him. Because he's one of those guys who doesn't guard you, and those guys are not that hard to beat, actually. Pretty easy to beat. So anyway, I don't really know what this team should do. I think Aaron Aflalo has actually become a pretty nice young player. I think he just didn't get very many touches in George Karl's system out in Denver. He's a good defender. And I think they should wait and see what they have with him. I don't think they should draft a shooting guard just yet. They have too many other holes they need to fill. Jameer Nelson's had a very good year, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Not 8 rebounds, 8 assists. But he's shooting 40%, and I watched him in that Celtics Magic game last Friday night. that guy, all he does is chuck. I mean, he's more frustrating to watch than Paul Pierce is sometimes. And I get that Paul Pierce is probably one of the top 50 greatest players of all time, maybe. You know, I don't know, it's up for debate. Certainly one of the greatest Celtics of all time. He'll go down as the 4th greatest Celtic of all time, most likely. But, man, I mean, the guy, oh, man, he just chucks. And, you know, both of them do. And it's hard to watch sometimes. I can see why, you know, this guy didn't get any consideration for an all-star bid. So the first time I saw the stats, I was like, oh, he had to be in at least consideration. But, oh, man, that guy's so hard to watch. But, you know... So, you know, it had a few guys with decent seasons. I don't really know who Turkle has been doing. You can see my opponent is now rage quit. Pretty funny. I'll leave you guys with the post-game stats and the player of the game highlights. I'm going to talk through them, though. So, you know, this team, Al Harrington's been out for the year. Aaron Aflalo is a guy, like I said, they should definitely think about keeping. Gustavo Iona is a guy I haven't touched on yet. I think he's pretty good. Very good defensively. He's a very good defensive player for a guy who's 6'10". They should definitely look to hold on to him for a little bit. I think his deal might expire after this year, so they should probably try to re-sign him for a year or two and just see what they have in him, because I think he definitely has some potential. Other than that, you know, they're gonna probably try and build off of the Thunder system of trying to get guys through the draft. It's kind of what the Warriors have done in a way with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and then you know, I believe they signed David Lee a couple years back. So, you know, it's all about rebuilding through the draft. That's how teams build success these days. Since they implemented the NBA Finals MVP trophy, I believe 36 of the 44 award winners have been drafted by the team that they play for. The latest exception being LeBron James, of course. So anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. This team not going to make the playoffs, not going to do anything. They just got to kind of wait and see, you know, rebuild through the draft, and maybe try to trade away some of those contracts. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you did enjoy. And so I'm out. Peace.